We'll call this the cancer update. I do have to speak low and slow in order for my voice to sound okay. If I start talking quickly, I have issues talking. So anyways, we'll start back in February of 2025. I'm diagnosed with cancer at the bottom of my tongue, on the right side of my tongue. And we scheduled surgery initially 2 weeks or so after we get back from Aruba. So come April, I start communicating with the surgeon. There's a couple of issues. My tongue starts swelling up. So they were able to push the surgery to April 11th. So we get home from Aruba. And I decided it's only 2 days until surgery. I'm going to stay home from work. I was going to work the couple of days, but decided not to. Friday 11th rolls around and in for surgery early morning in Boston at Boston Medical. I'm in surgery for 8 or more hours. I don't quite remember. It was a while. But they wound up removing a small portion of my tongue and the lymph nodes on the right side of my head. And then they were screened for cancer. Luckily, they were clear, but they were slightly enlarged. Doctor chose not to tell me, which is fine. I'm smart, I'd have freaked. Anyways, I stayed overnight, and I was home that Saturday, that next day. I had enough of the hospital. Nurses were fantastic, doctors, residents, everybody was fantastic. I did wind up having a drain tube coming from my jaw down into like a collection cup. Had to keep track of how much fluid I was draining and let the doctors know. And I think it was 10 or 11 days after that they removed the tube. But 6 days after getting home from surgery, my wife and I found my mom dead in her house. And that just adds on to, we'll call it my little nightmare. Anyways, mid-May, I have surgery again to have an IV port put in my right chest on the top. It's a little easier for infusion of chemotherapy and blood draws and other various meds if needed. So had that done. I did try to contact my second cousin, let him know that my mom had passed, but I found out that he had passed from colon cancer. It had been a little bit of time since I last talked to him, so I was a little taken back by that. Excuse me. So I then start radiation and chemotherapy. That's for 6 weeks, 5 days a week for radiation, and chemo is 1 time a week for 5 weeks. The chemo was fine. I didn't need any anti-nausea medicine. In fact, I slept through most of the chemo. The radiation, that's a different story. Come along June, first 2 weeks, radiation, it goes well, and then all of a sudden it just goes downhill. Doctors and nurses did tell me to expect that. I was slowing down in the eating, but then I completely stopped. Also stopped talking. It hurt too much. But I did start learning very basic sign language, and I also downloaded a program, an app on my phone, text to speech, so I was typing stuff and having it talk for me. But to top it all off, somehow, for some reason, our health care got canceled, even though we were still paying for it. The hospital's financial department, they weren't very nice about it. They kind of harassed me in the middle of treatment, and I did let them know that I was getting tired of them harassing me. So, it just wasn't adding up to being a good time for June. I realized my summer is finally toasted. So, towards the end of the month, I just started throwing up bile. It was fun. Oh, fun. Then I had to start the anti-nausea medicines. Still wasn't eating. Swallowing the meds hurt, but I had to do it. Then they started me on infusions of I think it was sodium, potassium, magnesium, or whatever else I needed for meds. And that was basically every other day. It wasn't a good time. None of this really is, but I digress. July 2nd, my radiation treatments come to an end. So does the chemotherapy. I'm still not eating. I'm still throwing up. Nothing really. I still had to use anti-nausea medicine. Still doing infusions. Had a physical therapy appointment, and she wound up sending me home. All I did was throw up. So, a couple days later, I started speech and swallowing therapy. And that was painful. I still really wasn't eating. So, come August, I finally still start doing physical therapy, and what she does is helps move the fluid down to my remaining lymphatic system in my underneath my armpit and into my chest. So, but at that point I did start to eat again. It was slow, but it was a start, and I was drinking ginger ale, and insurance finally pulled their head out of their ears and got everything working again. I did have to start eating a lot, and I had to gain back a lot of weight, and I had no energy, and energy is health, so definitely had to start eating. I don't know, I think I made it 2.5 weeks into speech and swallowing therapy, and the therapist, she had realized I was eating and finally talking and drinking, so I was released from that, and the infusion stopped, but I was still doing physical therapy twice a week. And top it all off, my family leave act ran out at the end of the month, so. But I did re-register the motorcycles, as you can see, in this case. I had to reinsure this bike. I had let the insurance lapse. I didn't think I'd be riding this summer, so I figured I'll just get it in the next year. I did finish fixing up my Honda Shadow. I had to do brakes and a couple other things. My ZRX, which you've seen a video of, it started right up. It was insured, and it was legal to ride, so I started going to car shows, just so I could walk the line of cars and get some exercise in and get moving again. I also started puttering in the garage while I was doing the bikes and cleaning it out, prepping up for the Corvette project. Then come September, I met with the surgeon, and she told me everything looked good. Found out my mom's house was getting foreclosed on, so I had to call that mortgage company to basically stall them, get them to hold off They were trying to collect from a deceased person, and that helped with the foreclosure. It's tough going through the house and collecting and finding all the stuff that you grew up with from when you were a kid. So I did have to start working very part-time, but doing little things here and there. Now October, still doing physical therapy. Met with a rep for a medical company that developed a machine to automatically move the fluids in the lymphatic system. It helps. It did help that first day I tried it. So the doctor basically wrote a prescription for it, and I did receive the tactile device. That's what it's called. It's from a company called Tactile. I have to use it every day for, I think, pretty much the rest of my life. I'm not quite sure on that yet. I am still going through my mom's house, and it's tough. So I ride. This is my mental therapy. But obviously, it's the 12th. I'm hoping to get a couple more days in. But then I'll store the bikes for the winter. And maybe I'll start insulating the garage, and then that way I can run a little heater and continue working on the Corvette. But I do have to get back on the job. I still can't lift anything. The port is still in, and it's not painful, but it's uncomfortable now because the fluids move around. I'm moving. Muscles are being built back up. So I'm definitely noticing the port, and I have a blood draw next month, and after that blood draw, I'm telling them that I think it's time for them to remove the port. So, and that's luckily an outpatient thing, so they'll just be able to remove it. Anyways, riding the SuperHawk, running through Duxbury for a quick ride. It's tough to really push it and enjoy it with all the cars, but it is a busy area. Yeah, it's a tough bike to ride long distance. I do take it on charity rides a lot, and it tends to get a lot of attention. Not too many people are riding antique Hondas around. It's also one of my favorites to ride. So this is 3A. This is in Duxbury. Eventually I'll wind up in Marshfield. I'm heading towards Marshfield Center on 3A here. One of my favorite quick little rides for the turns. Again, tough to do. Cars are slowing down, and I have to slow down for them, obviously. They're coming up to a tricky intersection. People just come and go through it as they please. Anyone who lives in this area, they know the intersection. Anyways, that's a quick cancer update. As I progress in my healing, I will update with another video, and hopefully soon I'll put together a Corvette restoration video, at least an introduction to it. I have several volunteers that wish to help out, which is great, and I'm hoping that my son is the major volunteer. I love working with him, especially automotive stuff, and watching the light bulb go off when he figures it all out. It makes my day. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking here and let you guys enjoy the last of the video. We are heading towards Marshfield Town Line and Marshfield Center, but I veer off towards the end of this ride just to try and get out of traffic. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you for watching.